Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show. Thanks for checking this video out. And yesterday I didn't post a video. I had a really bad day and I was trying to figure out all day why it was so bad. But I've read a lot of studies about how important it is to get out for a walk. One time my friend Dr. Koifman from the Koifman Center, which is an amazing alternative healing center, was staying at my house. And every day him and his son would go out for a walk in the middle of the day, the beginning of the day. But I'd be working from the time I got up to the time I went to sleep, and I loved my job, but I was just sitting at the computer all day. And he said, "You need to get out." I said, "Well, I have the window open." He goes, "That's not good enough. You need to get out." Well, I think I didn't have a good day yesterday because I didn't get outside. And I got to work early. I worked 13 hours, and I didn't get outside. So I think that it didn't even start my day off good. See, I can't even get out. I have to start my day outside. I got to see that sun rising and be outside. And maybe as I get older, that's something different, but everybody I know who's old and healthy, they go for walks early in the morning. So this morning I made sure I didn't necessarily go for a walk, but I made sure I got out very early in the morning to go metal detecting. And anyway, it was good exercise. I feel so much better today. I feel really amazing. Now, last week I told you about my friend who's going to have the breast removed because she said that she has a gene for this cancer. And I had a good talk with her yesterday, and so that really went well. I didn't talk her out of it, but, well, I guess it wasn't a good talk if I didn't talk her out of it, but at least I had a talk with her, and, you know, she's ready to do this. And she asked me, she said, if I had the gene, you know, what would I, no, she asked me, wouldn't you want to know if you have the gene? That's what she asked me, and my answer to her was no. And she's like, well, why not? I said, because I wouldn't do anything different than I did now, so what's the point? As a matter of fact, when you take the test, the biopsy to see if you have the gene, or one of the different blood tests or something, there could be negative things that come from those tests, especially the biopsies. So why even take the chance if you don't need to? And it's not necessary to know if you're not going to do anything. As I explained it to her is, it's like Russian roulette. So you got a bullet in one of the chambers. And if you pull the trigger, yes, maybe the bullet can affect you if it just happens to be in that chamber at that time. However, if you never pull the trigger, you're not going to have an issue. Or at least you won't for a very long time. So we all have a genetic weakness or something wrong with us. But what it's like is Russian roulette. But if you never pull the trigger, no problem. So eating and living a healthy lifestyle is like never pulling the trigger. So none of us are born in a perfect situation. You know, all our parents and through our lineage have something that's a weakness that will affect us, but you just don't pull the trigger. And as I met and said last week, I know people who are on a raw food diet who ended up succumbing to their illnesses. Well, what pulled the trigger for them, you might ask? Well, you know, as I said, it doesn't mean the trigger will never go off, but it can prolong it by a very long time. So maybe somebody was if they were eating McDonald's when they were 20, they're pulling that trigger, but if they don't eat McDonald's, maybe when they're 40 or 60 or 70 or 80, the trigger's going to eventually go off. You know, so you can look at that two ways. You could say, well, that person, you know, it doesn't matter, they did all that work, they ate that healthy diet, and they still passed away at 70 years old or something. But on the other side, you could say, well, wait a second, that person might have struggled with disease their whole life and passed away at 40 years old, so that's 30 years to their life that's added. You know, I'm going to take that approach because if I could add one more day to my life to spend with my family and to make videos for you guys, and I love my life too, and it's a great thing. So that's what I'm going to take that approach. But the question really was, would I want to know? And that's my answer to you. Would you want to know? I mean, curiosity is an important thing. It's very interesting. I mean, if there's something I could do to help an issue, if I know early enough, I'd like to know if I'm going to take that approach. But somebody says, well, what about just cancer in general? Do you want to get biopsies done when you're 50 years old or more just to see if you have cancer and monitor things? Because if you catch cancer in stage 1, you know, chances are much more successful of getting rid of it than if it's in stage 4, where it's brewing in your body all those years. And that might be true if you're going to do what the standard medication and doctors do with the chemo and radiation and everything else. But if you never have any plan to do what the doctors tell you to do, then what's it going to matter? And you know, it's a tricky thing, but that's what life's about, is figuring out the things we need to figure out and enjoying the ride while we're figuring those things out. Well, our raw food retreat is just about almost sold out, so maybe we'll have another one in the future. There's a couple of rooms left if you're interested. Please contact me immediately, and it's going to be really exciting. And then I was in the store the other day, and there was a sale going on, and I wasn't going to get this, but since it was a sale, I got it. And I've had these before. I actually did a video review about this company, Go Raw, and this is the Spirulina Super Chips. And this is one of those snacks I'm telling you about, the raw food junk food. And this isn't the worst one. I'm going to tell you why this isn't too bad, this one. And this company is great. They actually sprouted one of their crackers on a previous video I did, and actually sprouted. So it's very cool. So this company is a pretty good company. But still, this is a dehydrated food. You can make these at home, or you can buy them from the store. It's still a dehydrated food. So dehydration is not as bad or anywhere near as good as fresh food. But still, it's better than cooked food. So it's like in the middle. And I will have this, and I'll enjoy it. I don't love it. I actually prefer to have just a piece of fruit or something else, which I didn't get today. And my wife threw this surprise in my bag. So I'm going to have that. But here's the thing I wanted to bring up. It says the sweetener here is it's organic sesame seeds, organic bananas, organic coconut, organic dates, and organic spirulina. But the dates, that's why I love this company, Go Raw. I'm not saying they never use agave nectar in their products, because they do use agave nectar in some of their products. By the way, agave nectar is no good, if you didn't know that. Newsflash. And this is, so here you got it. So they're using dates instead. Well, when I first got into the raw food diet, the first raw food recipe book I got was Rita Romano's Dining in the Raw, which, by the way, Rita Romano is going to be the chef at the raw food retreat I'm giving. Talk about coming full circle, right? Just a wonderful thing. Anyway, in her book, she used sweetener. As the sweetener, she used dates. And now everyone's using agave nectar. I mean, I can't even find a raw food on the snack, a raw food snack on the market there that uses anything but agave nectar. And there are other alternatives that are supposedly raw as well, but you can't go wrong with dates if they're raw. They're delicious, they're great, and that's what many people use. So these are great. I think they're on my website at Raw Life if you want them, but you can go to your local store and get them as well. This company gets them out pretty well to the Whole Foods and other smaller stores, so they're pretty good with that. And of the raw food snacks out there, some of them are quite expensive. They're all expensive, but this one's pretty good value for your money, especially when it was on sale. So not bad. When you talk about value for your money also, another thing I like to do is, so I got this bag here, and it's actually 3 ounces, so maybe it's not a good value of money, but here's what I like to do to justify not eating raw food junk food, because it's just so crazy expensive, especially at a raw food restaurant. Like a raw food pie, it's like $9 for this little slice of pie. I'm like, no thank you. So money's not a bad thing, because if people never had to pay for food, they'd definitely be overeating and even more obese than they already are. Even if it's healthy food, they'd be overeating. So, you know, undereating or just eating enough is where we need to be. And if money has to limit us from getting too much food, great. The problem is people, instead of limiting the food and still getting healthy food, they'll find a cheaper source of food and still eat more. That's the issue right there. So we just need to eat healthy, and if we eat healthy, we can get away with eating less because all the nutrients are in what we need, as opposed to eating unhealthy food and just eating more of it. No matter how much we eat of it, we're still not getting what we need because it's not in there to begin with. So it's never going to satisfy our nutritional needs. So what are we going to do? We're going to keep craving more of it. Then we're going to end up overeating, and that creates a problem. So when you eat the good food, you don't need too much. But getting back to what I was saying, so you got 3 ounces here, and let's say this was $4, let's say. I don't even remember the price. So now you cut half of it now. So now you're paying $2 for this, but so $2 for 1 ounce, 1.5 ounces, $2 now. So now let's say you cut it down to half of that, or a third. So now $1 for less than an ounce of food you're looking at. And you take it from there. Now wheatgrass these days is like $2 to $3 an ounce, so that's probably the most expensive food on the planet. But it's one of the most healthy as well. Unless you make it yourself, it becomes one of the most cheapest foods on the planet. You can have an ounce of wheatgrass for like a nickel if you're making it yourself, or even less. But anyway, so there's just an idea. So when I break things down, that's how I do it, and I see if I'm justifying. Now an apple, on the other hand, you take an apple, let's say the apple, it's organic, it costs $1, half of it's 50 cents, so you're only paying a quarter for an apple. So, I think that's a great value. As a matter of fact, if I can get a good fruit that's in season that I can't get normally, I will pay a lot more for it. So if it's fresh and it's raw and organic, I definitely will be willing to pay more for it. But if it's processed and dehydrated, I definitely, or not definitely because I got this, but I'd be very skeptical about spending as much on something like that. So there you have it. If you have any comments or questions, post them below the video. Please say a prayer for my friend who's going to go in the hospital tomorrow morning. She says, oh, I'm going to be the first one in. And they're going to take me in there 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning or something like this. I said, are you at least eating better? No. Basically I'm eating the same way, and the hospitals aren't telling her any different on when she's in the room what to eat and how not to eat and anything else. They'll just do what they do. I remember somebody who had really bad cancer, and right before they went on hospice, I saw them in the hospital, and they couldn't digest solid food. So instead of them getting, which I would have gave them like coconut water or a smoothie or green juice, no, they were giving them applesauce and ice cream. And ice cream. And the applesauce was like sugared applesauce. It wasn't like a fresh raw applesauce that I made. There you go. No wonder why people in hospitals often get sicker, not better. Now, if I get in a car accident, don't send me to the kitchen. Send me to the emergency room. Emergency room doctors are wonderful. But if I put something in my body to create an illness, the answer is to stop putting it in your body. Health doesn't begin with what we add to our diet. It begins with what we eliminate. Eliminate what caused the problem, and guess what? Might just go away. The problem. So give it a shot. See what happens. If you have any comments or questions, post them below the video. Have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.